Hello everyone, welcome back to Shonky Lab. I'm Elton, this is Andy again.
Hello. Yeah, I know, you're sick of me by now, aren't you?
Yeah, you keep popping up, didn't you?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, look, it was me or Lee Harvey, so, I mean...
Well, I think Lee's got, like, Kabaddi or something this week, so I think he's off playing that.
It's Kabaddi. It sounds like some knockoff sort of computer game from the 80s.
No, Kabaddi is an amazing game. I've already spoken about it on here. It's just amazing. I don't know what he's actually doing. He's probably not playing that, but, you know, for this purpose, yes, he is playing Kabaddi. So
right, okay.
Enjoy that one. Enjoy it. So, yeah, I've got you again. So
I know, right?
You are definitely in my top 10 guest presenters with me.
That's basically solely down to quantity, not quality, just so we're clear.
Definitely in the top 10 somewhere. Definitely. I'm not sure where, but, you know.
So what you're saying is we're on a list somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can well believe that, yeah.
Well, after the last episode, yes, we are definitely on a list anyway. Wow. Yeah, that was dark. So, what are we here to talk about this week then?
Well, assuming we're talking about the thing I suggested earlier.
Yeah, we are.
We're talking about the fact that we all now live in the future. And it's kind of weird that we don't realise that. And I figured it'd be fun to just take a moment to pause and reflect on the fact that through the wonders of modern technology, I can sit here, I can order food, I can have it delivered to my house, and I won't have to interact with anyone other than my awkward "cheers, mate" when he hands over the bag full of food to me. It's amazing.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I understand that. I totally understand that. So, okay, right, I'm going to put about 45 minutes on the clock.
Works for me.
And then we'll get on with it.
Yeah, let's do it. We don't need any preamble. I'm good, you're good, everyone's good.
Yep.
Everyone in the chat room good?
Oh, yes, we do have a chat room.
Yes, we do.
Hang on.
Lucky Minty's here. Hey there.
Hello, everyone that's in the chat room. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, just before I do this, if you are listening to this for the very first time, go listen to something else. You don't listen to this rubbish for the first podcast you ever listened to. Crying out loud, no, don't do that. Anyway, if you do want to join in next time, please pop along to mixler.com/RogueTwoMedia, and you can join in on the chat room and the, other things that they can join in. Well, it's live. You can listen to it live. You can listen to all the odds and sods in between episodes as well.
You mean Elton's podcast roulette?
Where I didn't play any songs whatsoever.
No. And he didn't sit there in silence for a good 3 minutes because he wanted to listen to the end of his song either.
No, that's not true. That is not, well, I think it's just good manners to finish a song.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so pop along to mixler.com/RogueTwoMedia next time out. If you want to find out when this will be, then pop along to the Shonky Lab page on Facebook, which is a group, and all the details will be up there. And it'll normally be about half hour before we go live. It'll be, we're going live now. Thank you very much. So, yeah, keep your wits about you. I'm sure you're glancing at your phone as we speak anyway. So, you know how life works nowadays.
Well, and again, more stuff from the future. The phones!
There we go. So bleeding into our topic. So, people on phones and stuff. Okay, are we in the future now?
Well, no. Did you say... I heard this quote recently, and I think I heard it from you.
Yep.
And the quote was, "The future only begins the day after you die."
Yeah, I said that to you.
Yes.
The last time we recorded, which I can't, they're all bleeding into one.
Yeah, we record too much together. But still,
yeah,
that was what you said. But yes, we are living in the future, because if you think back to when we were children, those many moons ago, before the dark times, before the Empire.
Yes.
I mean, I grew up in the 1980s. I think you did too. At least you were present in the 80s.
Oh, God, yes.
Back then, we didn't have the internet. We barely had computers, maybe a Commodore or a ZX Spectrum or something like that. 4 channels, maybe 3 even. Phones had the big rotary dials and all this, and just very limited access to information. If you wanted to know stuff, you needed to have the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah, that's true.
And let's face it, that was always awesome because, you had however many issues, looked impressive. You kind of got them over a period of months or years or whatever it is. They used to cost thousands, I think. But now we have the internet. We can do this because we couldn't do this before. We'd have to meet up in each other's houses and record onto a tape deck or something.
The encyclopedias, though, weren't they a kind of status symbol at one point?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. If you had a full set of the Encyclopedia Britannicas,
you either inherited them from a deceased auntie, or you slowly bought them one by one.
Yes. Yeah, and obviously, they went out of date, I suppose, but I guess it was kind of so slowly you weren't really aware of it.
Well, by the time you need a new set, you've either inherited it or I can't say that word. That's a word I can't say. I've just worked out. You've either inherit. Go on, you're going to have to say it now. Inherited. Yeah, okay.
There you go.
From someone. I didn't know how to say that word. Wow. That's a new one on me. Like legislation. I can't say that word.
Legislation.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think with the encyclopedias, I quite like looking at the old dictionaries though. And I've got some from when I was a kid. And you look back on it, it's kind of the nostalgia thing, isn't it? I'm a sucker for nostalgia.
Oh, nostalgia, let's face it, that pretty much powers the entertainment industry today. There's a film coming out later this year, which is literally just nostalgia of a movie. But yeah, I always remember at my school, they had a modern copy of Encyclopedia Britannica, but they had an older version. Because I remember in the older version, under you had the USSR was listed, like as the current state for Russia. Whereas, later on it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I suppose that was the thing, when you had big global events, it would take a while for stuff to filter through to, the encyclopedias and, the other sources of knowledge. Whereas now, Wikipedia updates pretty much quicker than you can keep track of what's going on there.
Yeah.
You can refresh a page and it's changed. It's like, what the hell?
Well, yeah, and you can refresh them pages as well. You can change Wikipedia yourself. You can change the dictionary yourself, which is why it's so unreliable.
It is a little bit, yeah. Don't trust Wikipedia. Look at the sources yourself.
I always wonder about the people that sometimes I've heard that someone has died and you go to their Wikipedia page and that's already changed.
Yeah.
So there's someone with it all cut and pasted, ready to go.
Well, I mean, they used to do that. I mean, when Stephen Hawking passed today, his obituary was up like that because it is pre-written. I mean, slight tangent, but they, I believe, annually rehearse for funeral for the Queen and Prince Philip and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just so they know what they're doing when it happens.
Yeah, they've
got code names, haven't they, or something?
Yeah, they've got key places, key people, and they have to be at certain places, and they have film ready to roll already, don't they?
Oh yes, they've got their little packages already to rock and roll. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, getting back to the whole living in the future sort of thing, I've already mentioned, the phones and stuff like that, but I recently purchased a device, which I've been playing with today. I have a 3D printer, and I can take something from my computer, and over the course of a day, because it is not like Star Trek replicators where it just appears, I can make stuff that I can physically hold. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it looks good.
It's mind blowing. Though I can take a thing from my computer and make it real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's bonkers, isn't it?
Well, even like 5 years ago, that would have been like still the stuff of science fiction.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you can get mobile ones as well. The actual pens that you can make.
Yeah, the little 3D pens, yeah.
Yeah, they look quite cool. Polaroid make them as well, don't they?
Do they really?
Yeah, I might get one. I probably won't, but I might.
Saying Polaroid, that's another one. Cameras. Because again, back in the day when I was a lad, everything was shot on film. So you take your pictures, and then you had no idea if any of them were any good. Mm-hmm. They probably weren't. And then you had to take them off to Boots or wherever. And when I was young, it wasn't even 1 hour for processing. You had to go away before they'd come back.
Oh, well, yeah, you used to be able to get the hour process or the day process, didn't you?
Yeah.
And now we take so many pictures that most of them, I'd say 90% of them, we'll never look at ever again.
Yeah, and we'll almost never print them out or anything like that.
No.
And yeah, you get the pictures back finally, and half of them would have your finger covering the end of the lens or something like that.
Mm. Okay, so when you was a kid, when was the future to you?
I suppose for most of it was going to be the year 2000.
Yeah.
Because again, living in the 1980s and the 1990s, 2000, oh my God, but actually changing the first digit.
Mm.
That's madness, sir. And again, everything was kind of geared towards the year 2000. You had 2000 AD. You had 2001: A Space Odyssey. You had, all these things set in the far distant future of Transformers, the movie, is set in 2005. It's like that. It is.
Well, the animated one.
The animated one, yes. The one with Unicron and everything. Yes, that's set in 2005.
Wow.
In the far distant future.
Oh, no, that's painful.
A little bit. So, yeah, for most of it, it was 2000 was the future. And then 2000 arrived, and we didn't really think of it as the future, I suppose, because it was the present.
Yeah.
As is, the way of things. And then I suppose at that point you kind of started thinking maybe 2010 or 2015 was the future, and we've kind of blasted through both of those now. Yeah. Now I'm thinking 2050 is the future.
Yeah,
that's kind of my nearest touchstone as to what the future is.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay, going back as a kid, I think 1999 springs to mind because Prince had a song.
Yes. We were going to party like it was.
Yeah, and it was weird that date would roll around, and then you'd be in 1999, and that song was relevant again, and yet you knew within a year it would be behind you, and you'll never be looking forward to that date.
Do you remember all the doomsday prophecies and everything as well? There was Y2K. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I'm not going to say I was involved in it, but I remember my industry was on high alert because of it, because all the planes were going to fall out of the sky and everything was going to crash and burn, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Civilization was going to implode.
Yeah, and I had the weird feeling that other people thought that 2000 would roll around and all the streets would be silver or metal, and it would just be like that. It would be in the future, and it's really not. It's still another shitty day.
Yeah,
and it was just okay. And
I remember there was the fireworks we were supposed to have because the London Eye wasn't open on time because of course it wasn't. And I remember they were saying Concorde was going to fly over it with the red arrows, but it was very cloudy, so it couldn't. And then there was the big fireworks that was going to have, but they were on barges all the way along the Thames, and it was like a damp squib. It just didn't work properly, and I just remember it would be very kind of.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, all that mayhem about the dome as well, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, the Millennium Dome and stuff.
Oh, Jesus.
Or the O2 as it's known now.
Yeah. Well, there was big human bodies that you could climb into and walk around. I never went around that.
I didn't go around. I mean, I've been down to the O2 since. But yeah, my brother went there. I mean, the big takeaway for me was there was a Blackadder special. Mm-hmm. But you can get it on DVD now, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so what makes today and now the future for you?
For me.
What is so special from your little Andy looking at big Andy?
Euphemism?
No.
Just making sure.
No. For once, my mind didn't go there.
Okay, fine. I suppose it's the fact that I literally right now am holding in my hand a device within which I have access to the entirety of human knowledge.
Yeah.
It is the smartphone. It is a computer vastly more powerful than the PC I had growing up. It's probably vastly more powerful than the computer I had in the year 2000. Through it, I can access Wikipedia and access everything there, the internet. I can make phone calls. I could, if I wanted to, do this Skype call with you to record it. It has a camera in it, which is better than most of the cameras I had growing up. I can play games on this. It's like the monolith from 2001. It's just this black rectangle in which we've kind of distilled all of civilization up until this point, and we mostly use it to look at cat pictures and to argue on Twitter. So to a large extent, that on a grander scale, in terms of things that have happened recently, things like the Falcon Heavy, where a guy launched a car into space largely because he could.
Yeah.
And it was an electric car as well. And not like a milk float. Like it's a car that runs solely on electricity and has performance and stuff like that. And he stuck it on top of a rocket, launched it into space, and then recovered 2 of the 3 boosters which launched it there.
Yeah. Well, we spoke about this on the Great Derelict, haven't we?
Yes, we have spoken about it at length, but it is still, that's the future right there. He's talking about sending people to Mars, but it's no longer feels like a distant pipe dream. It actually feels like it's potentially actually something tangible. And I imagine it's what it felt like living in the 60s. You felt like the future had arrived.
Yeah. Okay. So do you feel that future is within grasp? Do you think you'll see that?
The future of getting to the moon,
well,
and to Mars and so forth.
Yeah.
I think it's possible we could get to there. It does largely depend on us not killing ourselves between now and then, and I'm giving even odds on that.
I don't think we will. I think we'll be all right.
Okay.
I honestly think we'll be all right. I think it's all just bravado and chest puffing out. That's all that is. So don't worry about that. The world's not going to end tomorrow.
Okay, fine. I'll take your word for that. If it does, I'm coming for you.
Yeah. You can have my receipt. It'll be fine. Yeah.
But yes, assuming none of that happens, then yes, I do think we will. I don't think it'll happen as soon as Elon Musk thinks. He's saying like 2020, I think it is. Mm-hmm. I don't think that, but I think 2030, that's reasonable to expect.
Yeah.
And I think that would be awesome. And as mentioned on the Derelict and other casts that we've done, if someone was to turn around to me and say, hey, do you want to go and live on Mars? I would be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I'm staying firmly on the Earth.
Yeah, when we do one of these, then I think there's going to be a bit of a delay in the signal, but we'll make it work.
It's fine. It'll work. It's just editing then. It's fine. You record your side, I'll record my side, put them together, it'll be fine.
And be talking over each other as well.
Oh yeah, well I think that's part of the shtick, isn't it? Surely.
Yes, a little bit. It is definitely.
Yeah. So okay, what would you like to pass back to little Andy from now? Would it be the phone, or would it be something else? Or okay, you've travelled back in time to little Andy. And
can we stop? Can we stop?
No, we're still going to, because I can hear the uncomfortableness in your voice, so we're going to keep calling it little Andy.
Okay, fine.
So you're going to travel back to little Andy, you're going to pat him on the head, and what are you going to tell him about the future?
I will say, young lad, one day all this will be yours. What, the curtains? No, not the curtains, lad. Yeah, probably the phone, but I don't think that would probably excite in the same way of, because the infrastructure wouldn't be there. There wouldn't be the internet to connect it to. It would just be an impressive display. If there's videos on there, that's fine, but other than that, it's not going to work.
Yeah, no service straight away.
Exactly, it's no bars. Oh, that's awkward.
Hey kid, watch this. Oh, hang on.
I do have the Portal Bridge Constructor game on my phone, which is really good fun. Highly recommend it.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, you know Portal, the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bridge constructor version of it with Gladys and everything like that, and it's tons of fun.
Oh, okay, right. Well, remind me after the show, and I will download that.
I shall remind you later. But yes, that's lots and lots of fun. And yes, Jack, I have had a beard since the age of 3. You are correct. I suppose if it was to be anything, it would be to tell him about space stuff, because at a young age, even that interested me, and talking about things like the Falcon Heavy and the promise of the BFR and things like that. I think that's probably what as a young lad I would have found most exciting.
Yeah, because you've got everything, haven't you? You could tell them about Concorde not working anymore, not being used, the shuttle not being used anymore. They're all pioneering futuristic technology that was going to take us faster and above and beyond, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah, that was the future when we were kids, and we've moved beyond them. And many people say we've taken a step back, perhaps. Again, I've spoken in the past about the shuttle. I think it impressive, but it was a thing. It did its job. It's fine. I'm certainly more excited about the prospect of point to point with the BFR, which is where you could take off, you hop into orbit, and then come down in like 90 minutes later, you're in Sydney. And having flown for 26 hours it takes to get to Sydney, I am all in favour of that.
Yeah.
Jet lag's going to be a killer, though.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. What other things that prove that we're in the future now, then? Is it like technology like this? Like we're speaking to each other. I remember speaking to my uncle who lives in Australia on the telephone. And that was a case of you say a sentence and then wait.
Yeah.
And because there was a delay there, wasn't there? And that delay has slowly, over time, disappeared. Yeah,
I mean, didn't really have a huge amount of opportunities to talk to people abroad. We had friends who lived in New Zealand, and we'd occasionally get letters, but we didn't really speak on the phone. And I always remember when you got letters from people, it was always this, from abroad. It was like, oh, look at the different stamp and everything on there. Oh my God, it's so amazing. Such all this different technology and everything. I mean, here's a sound. Let's see if I can make this work from my youth. Let's see if this will play. All right. The sound of technology.
Yeah.
And I mean, we first got a PC that was internet capable the late 90s, I think it is. That was the sound of the future back then. I was like, my God, it's the internet. And this was back when the internet was like, Lawnmower Man or Reboot or something like that. It was Tron-like,
Oh, well, yeah, that was definitely a future glimpse, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lawnmower Man, flipping hell, man.
Yeah, that's a deep cut right there. But again, like now, it's silent, it's instant connection, it's wireless. It's Wi-Fi as a thing that just never really gave any thought to. Simon Dennis in the chat room says AI is another reason why we're in the future now. I mean, that's true. Have you seen those Boston Dynamics robots?
Yeah, are they the ones that do the flips?
They do the flips. They now open doors as well.
The yellow ones?
Yes.
Yeah, they're creepy, man. That's like a dog with a head for a hand, or a hand for a head.
The worst thing is they've released all these videos of people abusing these things, like kicking them over. And they're making them smarter. It's like, do you want Skynet? Because this is how you get Skynet.
See, this is why I was scared of Runaway when I was a kid. That's why it creeped me out, because I'd go if I went back to little Elton and said, okay, right, robots, they're kind of nearly real. They're there. And yeah, look, there's a dog that's falling over, granted. And you got this Honda one that walks up the stairs, but it's getting there. You can have a vacuum cleaner. You can go to the store and buy a vacuum cleaner and it'll go around your room while you're out. And that would be, oh no, I don't want to be there. Don't want that. That's why I haven't got a Roomba.
It's the robot uprising.
Yeah.
Yes. The toasters are coming for you, mate.
But why do they kick the crap out of them? Why do they get sledgehammers and whack them to prove that they fall over? And all the robots do learn not how to fall over when hit by a sledgehammer.
Oh, I don't know, but yeah, it is. Yeah.
Do you remember The Incredibles?
It's not going to end well. The Incredibles the Pixar film.
Yeah, the big robot that Bob fights at the beginning, and it learns his tactics.
Yes.
That's all they're doing now.
They're just learning.
Yeah, they are slowly learning. And that data will be passed down, and it's only a matter of time until they go, hang on a minute. No, I don't want this to happen to me, because it will happen.
Oh, it absolutely will happen. I know Stephen, was it Stephen Hawking or Elon Musk? I know and I think Stephen Hawking as well, have said AI is the biggest danger to civilization. In terms of if it's mishandled, whatever, it's just going to it's going to end badly. You've seen Terminator. You kind of know how that goes.
Well, okay, right. In the future, when these robots learn or become sentient or aware of their surroundings, and they get to make their own decisions, and then they can just look on the internet and then find these films that we've made before they turned up, and they will see that we're scared of these films, and they'll interpret these as worries that we have and possibly play on them worries. It's gonna happen. It's just
I don't think it's the worries videos they'll be looking at. It's going to be the ones of us kicking those early primitive robots over.
Yeah,
that's the one where they're going to come for us.
Do you know what you're doing there? You're kicking their ancestors.
Oh yeah,
that's what it is.
Yes, no good is going to come from that.
Yeah, there'll be like Clockwork Orange videos of toasters being thrown on bonfires and computers smashed to smithereens, and AI in the future will just be looking at it going, oh dear. Oh dear.
Well, I for one welcome our robot overlords. I'd like to remind them, as a trusted podcaster, I could be useful for rounding up dissenters.
Okay. What about the people in the chat? What year do you now consider the future? Because I think I'm with you. I thought it was about 2035-ish. 2050 is just out of reach for me, I think. How old would I be in 2050? Yeah, might be dead by then. I'll be pushing 70, I think. Yeah, so that is kind of the future. The day after you die is the future. I can't remember where I heard that from, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Because, we live in the now, we live in the present.
Yeah.
So when we stop doing that, it's the future.
Because processors are just becoming so powerful nowadays, aren't they? They're tripling and quadrupling their power in 2 years, isn't it?
I don't think processors are. I think they kind of reached a bottleneck. So what they're doing now is it's more processors on a single chip, which is why you get quad core and like 4. I mean, you can get a Mac Pro now, which has got like 16 core processors.
Yeah, well, it's the size of the transistor that limits anything on the actual size itself, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some fancy word for the law of thermodynamics or something. I don't know. But that's kind of the loggerhead there. I mean, I suppose the thing is, it's weird how, the Tesla Roadster aside, we don't really have flying cars, but we have these other things. But that being said, though, a lot of these companies are looking at, like, in effect, man carrying drones, so those quadcopter things.
Mm-hmm.
So I know there's a couple of companies looking to launch those. So we might get drones, might get flying cars soon. I don't know if I trust people in flying cars, though.
No. You're getting into Minority Report territory there as well, aren't you?
Well, Minority Report, was that 2002 that came out?
Hang on.
Man looks up thing on internet.
I'll let you do that because your internet's going to be quicker.
It was 2002.
Right.
And I remember he basically got a load of futurists together and he said, what's the world going to look like in 50 years? And that was the world they painted.
Yeah.
And, it's weird. In some ways, it's still, futuristic and, it's overly science fiction. Those weird cars which kind of would go vertically down the building and then join the freeways and everything.
Yeah.
Don't know if we're going to get those. But then again, things like that computer he uses, that is something I can see, because so much is now touchscreen and motion based and things. And again, we've not even touched on things like VR and stuff like that, which are becoming all the rage again now. Again, we kind of dabbled with it in the 90s, but again, it's we've all seen the video of Lee playing Alien Isolation.
Yes. We've also seen the video of Lee struggling with a Mac as well, haven't we?
Yes.
That's the problem with the world today, people. I'm joking. It's a joke. You reminded me of something as well. It is years ago now. I was doing a podcast called Apotheosis of a Bombast with Scott Copperman. And we both had a thoroughly good time doing that. And while we were making that, the Xbox Connect came out.
Uh-huh.
And I remember having a discussion with him about what it's going to be used for. And I know it hasn't really caught on. I know they're ditching that sort of technology, but it had the power to know who was in the room when you was watching the TV or playing the video game. So if someone walked in the room, they'd instantly know that was that person because it was set up to that person. And it was really clever technology. I always thought that they were going to build these cameras and scanners into TVs. And so you'd be sat there watching TV or watching Netflix or whatever you want to do, and you'll be scanned and it'd know who you were. So then it could advertise to that person. And that was kind of Minority Report. I remember him walking down the street and he got scanned and retina scanned.
Uh-huh.
And
it was
adverts were played to him.
Yeah, they were all because when he got his new eyes, it was all this weird Mr. Yamamoto or something like that.
Yeah, it was different, wasn't it? Yeah, so
it was.
I can see that.
Have you seen Children of Men?
No.
Okay, firstly, you should really see Children of Men.
Okay.
Secondly, I think that's set this year, actually.
Is that the one where they don't have kids for a long time? Yeah, I've heard of it and just never got around to it.
Well, it's a fantastic film, and honestly, it just gets better the more I see it. It's 2027 it's set. But what that has a very near future. And that kind of feels right because you have like buses that look like current buses, but the ads on the side are all animated and moving. And again, we still look at that and think of that as kind of futuristic take. But then if you go on the tube these days, all the posters which are along the side of the escalators are all video screens, and you get them on bus stops and everything now as well.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird how, it's there. I remember there's a couple of police officers you see, and they've got like the cameras and everything on them, and that's something we have now as well with the body cameras connected there. It's fascinating just seeing it bleed in, and you only realize it's happened when you look back at it. Almost, it's like you just wake up one morning and you suddenly realize, you go, oh wait, yeah, the internet's a thing now, and Wi-Fi and 3D printers. You don't think about it at the time, or very rarely. It's only when you have big things like the Falcon Heavy launch, or when, you know, the first electric car shows up that's like usable, that you really kind of take stock and you go, I'm in the future.
Yeah, well, I've been driving along, I think it's the A2, and they've got some animated, like, big screens for advertising, big advertising boards, and they kind of glare at you during the day and during the night, and it's kind of off-putting as you're driving past, and it's just a bit too bright and it's a bit too in your face where you need to be concentrating on the road, and it's weird.
Yeah.
And they've put some new ones on Sunny in the Sands roundabout. As you go underneath it, you have a big TV screen, to say the least, on one side and on the other side. And so it's advertising you, but you're not supposed to be reading or looking at the TV as you're driving, but they're kind of forcing you into this now. And it's getting very Blade Runner-esque, where you've got just all these advertisements animated all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I noticed it when I went down that road, and like, hang on, that's new, and that's very bright, and that's hurting my eyes. And that's new as well. And it's just, I took stock then. It's like, oh no, I don't want this. This shouldn't be happening to me now. I need to be an old man before this actually happens.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Toronto last year, I was walking down this larger street, and it was a big shopping centre or some sort of large building, and it was just covered in massive LCD displays, kind of like Piccadilly Circus.
Mm-hmm.
But all of them were just literally something out of Blade Runner. In fact, I took some photos which felt very Blade Runner-esque. And you got that. I mean, you've also got things like self-driving cars are becoming a thing now as well. And it's literally, you can just, supposedly the technology is, you know, you just sit there and the car will maintain the distance, and it will turn and do all the corners and everything. And, you know, it'll even predict if there's a crash going to happen and stop it from happening.
That's right, yeah. I'd rather have one of them, actually.
Well, it's the thing. I mean, 99% of the time, a crash is human error.
Well, all the crashes on... Well, okay. I'm guessing all the crashes on the self-driving cars have been caused by other drivers instead of the actual self-driving car crashing.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the reasons they haven't been accepted as much is that sense of, you know, we like to be the master of our own fate. It's a thing like, you know, we don't technically need pilots for planes. A plane is entirely capable of flying itself from gate to gate. I mean, okay, you need someone there to perhaps just in case something goes wrong.
Yeah.
But on a typical flight when nothing does go wrong, apart from switching everything on and making sure it's all okay, all the pilot really has to do is sit there and make sure the computer's doing what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever see the inside of an A380 cockpit, the big double-decker ones, and I think this is the same on the A350s, they don't have a big control yoke in front of them. They've got a teeny tiny little side stick, but they have a keyboard in front of them. Yeah. Because that's what they primarily are using. It is for kind of tapping in stuff.
Yeah. Simon Dennis in the chat room, he says, I believe that we're currently living in the best time to be alive that there has ever been. With all our technology, why can't I say words tonight? Yeah, thank you. Technical achievements and discoveries, our vision and success will only continue if we can sort all the politics out and stop effing the world up. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And Jack Woodgate, electronic cigarettes. If those had, if they had those in sci-fi movies 20 years ago, they wouldn't have gone, that's fucking stupid. Electronic cigarettes. I have a beef with electronic cigarettes. I've got no problems in people using them. I just don't want to taste or smell the flavors as well. And I grew up in a house with my dad was smoking as a young kid, so I grew up with that. So that was a thing. And kids now are growing up with e-cigarettes. So that's just their thing. I just don't like the fact of a big, massive white cloud just heading towards me, and I've got no choice but to swallow it. It's just, I find I'd rather actually have smoke in my face than that weird stuff. But that's just me. I'm not having before I start another flame war with vapors. I'm not trying to do that. I'm really not trying to do that. But yeah, that's just a personal opinion anyway.
No, yeah, e-cigarettes is a weird thing there. Another thing I've seen which kind of makes me think it's the future now are solar collectors. Now, this isn't a solar farm where it's just solar panels laid out in a field, which you do see lots of places these days. You know, you go along the motorway, any empty field has pretty much got a solar farm in it. Mm-hmm. What a solar collector is it's a tall tower, and it's surrounded by mirrors, and it focuses all of the sun's rays to the top of the tower, and it boils water, makes steam, drives turbines and stuff like that. If you saw Blade Runner 2049, it's what the power stations are at the beginning of that. But these are things that exist now, and that's very cool and futuristic.
Well, okay, I'm glad you hit on that actually, because my father-in-law lives out in Spain, and they're not. Well, they are allowed to have solar panels, but they are charged to have these solar panels.
Oh, mate.
Now, where they live, they get so much sun, they could live quite happily off-grid. But because certain massive companies won't be making the money that they are making now, and their shareholders won't be getting the money that they are getting now, then they tax it to the hilt. And make it very hard. Now, that is not a vision of the future. That is where people are just worried about their pocket and not worried about the future of anything, the planet or anyone else's lifestyle.
There was a article, I can't remember who wrote it. It might have been Neil deGrasse Tyson or something like that. And it was basically how there are stages of civilizations. A type 1 civilization uses all of the resources of its planet efficiently to great power. A stage 2 civilization uses all the resources in its solar system, and a stage 3 uses a galaxy-wide one. Mm-hmm. And he goes, we are on the cusp of becoming a type 1 civilization, understanding fusion and stuff like that. But what you will find is every time you're going to make the leap, people are going to grasp desperately to the old ways because they're afraid of the change. Yeah. And that's kind of what you got there. You know, we're very much on the cusp of potentially becoming great. But you've got the companies with the invested interests who don't want to give up their oil revenues and think global warming is a scam and all that bollocks.
Yeah. Yeah, it is worrying. And I don't know. We're so close to pushing forward into the future in certain things, but I feel that money rules everything, and there's still more money to be made out of certain things which this whole life wants you to totally use up all this oil before we move on to the next stage. The next stage is probably sorted, or the plans are sorted. It's just not yet, guys. Not yet. Look, we've still got that money in the ground.
It's just if people, were willing to. I mean, okay, easy one here. The US spends $600 billion a year on its military. $600 billion a year on its military.
Yeah.
It spends about, it used to be 1.2, but I think it's under $1 billion now on NASA.
Right.
So 1/600th of its budget, of the equivalent budget, is spent on its exploration. What if you flipped them? Flipped them around. What if you were spending $600 billion on science and research and new technologies? We could be, if they had that kind of money, they could fund Martian and lunar colonies like that. They could develop the spacecraft to get them. I mean, we spoke on the Derelict about the SLS, which has already cost them $500 million or something, and they're not even anywhere closer to getting the thing flying because they have so little money. It's done over such a long time. It ends up costing them so much more. And it's the same with power and stuff like that. If they wanted to, if they were to invest in fusion technology and stuff like that and that sort of research, there's no telling what they couldn't achieve.
Yeah. Oh, it's scary, isn't it?
It's same with healthcare and stuff like that and medicines. There is a vested interest in companies to perhaps not necessarily develop cures as opposed to treatment. I'm not saying they're out there doing it, but I'm saying is they're looking at their bottom lines first and not whatever else. I seem to hear Mother screaming in the background.
Yeah, I'm just going to put it in the background ever so slightly.
Yes.
There we go. I saw that program Dirty Money, I think it was.
Yeah.
Where you had the chemical companies, the ones that really hiked up the prices of the pills. They weren't interested in developing anymore. They would just buy up all the ones that they could and then send the price up through the roof. And they weren't doing any scientific research or any development, and it was just hindering the human race, really.
A little bit, and that's the shame. I think the thing holding us back more than anything else is our baser natures, our baser instincts.
Yeah.
And if we could evolve past that, I definitely think we could become a Type 1 civilization and do great things. But we're not there yet.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Right. The alarm is going off anyway, so we better... Hang on. Let me... Stop that. I ain't going to snooze it again. Otherwise I'll screw everything up. So, that is Are We Living in the Future? Or something like that anyway. I don't know. So,
sort of.
In
maybe.
conclusion, are we living in the future?
Compared to where we were, yes, we are living in the future. We have technology now that is everyday to us that if we took it back to our younger selves would blow our minds.
It's true, yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Brilliant way to finish. So, where can other people find you around the internet that is in the future, of course?
In the future's on them internets. Well, obviously, most of my stuff can be found on RogueTwoMedia.com with all of your stuff.
Yes, that is correct.
Because
yes.
we do a lot of podcasts together, you see.
Yeah, kind of looking for a break.
Little bit. We're not entirely convinced. We're not quite sure who's the Tyler Durden of this relationship, basically.
No, one day we will find out in a building at the top with a gun.
Yes.
I suppose. It's going to happen, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But as we both know, the first rule of podcasting is you do not talk about podcasting.
No. But then again, you wanted an episode on that. Weird. Yeah, I'll just leave that sit there.
Yeah.
Please also pop along to all the other links that we have in the show notes, which will include Black Dog Podcast and Hypnogoria and Danny Davies and the bOrgcast and lots of other things are linked in the show notes. Please pop along to the Shonky Lab group, which is shonkylab.com/groups/Shonky Lab. And if you fancy listening to us waffle on like idiots again, please pop along to mixler.com/RogueTwoMedia, where you can listen to our dulcet tones, my dulcet tones, Andy's, Lee's, the other Lee's, anyone else that wants to join me. I think I've got Pete Hammond coming in. We're going to be talking about pirates very soon as well.
Jim lad.
Yes.
Oh, wait, do you mean those sort of pirates or the internet pirates?
Oh. There you go.
Or all the Somali pirates?
No, I can't do the Somali pirates.
Space pirates? Na. Space pirates.
It'd just be pirates, so yeah, I'm sure that they would turn up in the episode at some point.
Yes.
Anyway, pirates, yes. So hopefully that'll be coming along soon. So please keep an ear out for that. So thank you very much, Andy, for joining me. It's been excellent.
Always a pleasure. Yes, my pleasure.
Cool. And it just leaves me to say thank you to the chat room, and please leave quietly. This is a residential area.